All right. Good morning. We made it to another week. Happy Monday Magic Mood Boost. My name is Crystalline Sophia. I'm an astrologer, folk magician, all the woo woo stuff. And this is our time to be able to hang out together in the beginning of the week and get to know each other in the chat and ask me anything you want about the upcoming astrology, about how to work with it magically, about things going on in the world and what astrology or maybe magic has to say about it. And if my intuition and thoughts on things can contribute to your research, I'm here for that as well. So I see that our lovely mod AJ has been getting everybody all nice and warmed up. Good morning, Kristen. Good morning, AJ, and Aurora Life Coaching Services. Hi there. Rita is here. It's so good to see you guys. And Kathy, good morning. And Misty, hi. Oh, it's so nice to see you all. Good morning. And it is a good morning. You know why? Hi, Lady Avalon. Danny's here. Amazing. It's a good morning because this week, Mercury goes direct. Mercury goes direct. In fact, in 5 days, Mercury goes direct. And honestly, wow. So Mercury spent the last week of this retrograde since the new moon last week in Scorpio, which is my rising sign. And the rising sign can have a lot to do with your personal goals, your like what's right in front of you in life, what you're doing, your personal life, but also your body and your physical self. And I had this switch turn on in my head last week where I was like, I need to change my entire morning routine. And I planned for it and I strategized and I like pros and cons to everything. And yeah, I switched it up this morning and I liked it. So I'm really excited that I got that going on. Kristen, thank you for being here. I'm sorry you have to go back to your desk, but I always appreciate how you jump on. Yeah, AJ, you have a Scorpio moon. It's my moon too. So it's been great. How have you guys been feeling since that new moon happened in Scorpio last Wednesday, I believe? Is that why I just got rid of a bazillion things last week? Yeah, Mercury was exactly conjunct to the degree that new moon. It was the same day as Mercury's halfway point in their retrograde cycle. So that's also called Mercury's interior cazimi. It's interior because Mercury in their position around the sun is between the sun and the moon, or sun and the earth. So when Mercury is between the sun and the earth, to us, they look conjunct. The sun and Mercury look conjunct. When Mercury is on the other side of their orbit, they're halfway between their retrograde cycles and they're on the opposite side of the sun. And to us, again, they look conjunct with the sun. Yeah, Misty says, woohoo, Mercury's been working it. You've been pondering dark, vivid rainbow hair. Ooh, I suggest trying it out. Why not? I actually have a haircut tomorrow. I think I'm going to stick with roughly the same thing I'm doing, but we'll see if my hairdresser has any ideas. I like to just let her have creative license. It's really fun. Good morning, Shauna. It is great to see everybody. Oh, it's actually feeling really nice this morning. I think one of the things I did to change up my routine is I stopped walking on a treadmill and started walking outside. I set up a Pokemon Go route along the walk that I want to do so that I get something out of it. I'm someone who has to be motivated by a reward. So to get me outside, it's got to be worth it. And it was because I am playing Pokemon Go at the same time and accomplishing, spinning stops for the day, doing all this stuff that gets me rewards in several of the games I play. So yeah, it's really helpful. Good morning, Ren and Kiki. Great to see you. Cool. Awesome. So how are you guys doing? We have, like I said, this week has less transits to it. Let me pull up my little list here. Has less sort of transits than last week. Last week was busy, and wasn't it though? Again, we saw the headlines were wild, just kind of as we predicted. Now, the type of wild, I wasn't really sure where that was going to lead, but I knew it would be wild. You can get into those nitty gritty details a lot of the time with how much I have to study and how much I have to do for the entire week. I don't get to go into those nitty gritty details. But what we did see show up was pretty interesting. And now today, as we speak, Mercury is conjunct Venus. And I'm just going to double check myself here. Yep. Okay. So it's November 24th. Mercury is conjunct Venus. Venus is getting ready to head out of Scorpio, I believe. She'll be heading into Sagittarius later this week. I just recorded this morning next week's transit skit. I have to work a week ahead of time so that I can give you all the good stuff in the Alchemist Inkwell podcast and all that. So I'm like, wait a second. Venus, as far as I used her this morning, was in Sagittarius, but that's because she will be. So this week, Venus is doing a lot of the movement that we're seeing because she is getting to the end of a sign and the beginning of another sign. What happens with that this whole year, as we've seen, is Venus is going to interact with, gosh, near every planet. And Misty, sure, magic trips for traveling this week. I'll get into that once I do the summary here for Venus. So Venus today is conjunct Mercury. Mercury is still moving backwards. So they're going to pass like ships in the night because she's moving forwards. Come Wednesday, Venus is going to trine both Jupiter and Saturn. So we're going to get that grand trine between Venus, Jupiter, and Saturn. Saturn on the 27th will go direct. And then on the 29th, Mercury is going to go direct on the same day that Venus opposes Uranus. So you can see how she's talking to all the outer planets one by one here. She will trine Neptune on the 30th, the same day that she will then move into Sagittarius. Once she gets into Sagittarius, a day or two after that, she'll have a conversation with Pluto. So that's how it is right now. Because the outer planets are all in the process of shifting between signs. When the inner planets shift between signs, they tend to have a conversation with those outer planets, which gives us some big plot points to observe in our daily lives. So yes, it's going to be great to see Saturn and Mercury move forward. Venus opposite Uranus is probably the spiciest of the aspects this week. The rest of them are trines. So Venus is doing hopefully lovely things for most of that time. When she opposes Uranus, though, Uranus being in Taurus and she being in Scorpio, where she is still detriment until she gets out of Sagittarius, we might see some probably deep things coming up in our relationships that you weren't expecting to have to share right now, but you find yourself sharing right now. This is a time where Venus might want to word vomit because it is the same day as Mercury going direct. So all of these things that Mercury also in Scorpio has been like pondering and processing may get ready to be shared externally. I'm not saying you're actually going to vomit, don't worry. But I do think that we'll have that impulse later this week to have conversations. And again, my recommendation with stuff like this, where the opportunity is there for arguments, is to make sure don't not have an argument. Arguments can be really fun, right? Let's change our narrative here. Arguments can be really fun. And this is happening on the 29th, which is on Friday. So yes, it is applying on Thanksgiving. So you might still get that energy there. Actually, it's on Saturday. Thanksgiving is Saturn going direct. So maybe we'll have a good buffer. I would say if you're doing any shopping on Friday with people, if that's something that you're doing this year, just be patient with each other because everybody might have their own agendas and they might forget to actually say the things outside of their head that are going on inside of their head. And we've all been there, right? So just make sure that you confirm with people what the strategy is, what you can expect if you're the kind of person who needs to set expectations. I know I am. So that's something, that we can just keep an eye on and make sure you're very transparent in your communications. Transparent doesn't have to mean overly blunt. Direct is fine, right? We're not trying to hurt anybody's feelings. We're trying to create understanding. So that's what the key is. Create understandings. Let the family debates begin. Yeah, her sister was a witch. And what was her sister? AJ, that's perfect. Thank you so much for bringing that up. I should wear that to Thanksgiving this year. That'll be fun. Inside thoughts spilling out. Yeah. So just again, make sure you allow yourself to process your inside thoughts. Ask yourself, wow, here's a really fun fact. I had a mentor once who kind of blew my mind because he said, you're not responsible for what your thoughts are. And I was like, oh, false. But then I thought about it, right? And later, as I got into life coaching skills and those other kind of processes, you find that there's a really good example of this from a life coach person called Brooke Castillo. Whether or not I would stand by her as a person these days is another topic, but she is where I first was exposed to the CT-FAR method, CTFAR. And I really liked this as a concept because C is for circumstances. Your circumstances, what you are experiencing, triggers the T, a thought, right? And you have a thought about that circumstance. Now, the circumstance is out of your control. The thought you have comes from your entire history and everything that's going on in your head. This can show traumas. This can show limiting beliefs. This can show really good things about you. But that thought is going to pop up. This is where you come in consciously, right? Because that thought is going to give you a feeling. That feeling typically leads to your action, which gives you the result that you end up with. So if we can reverse engineer that a little bit and say between the thought and the feeling, saying, oh, I'm angry. Why am I angry? What thought do I have right now about this situation? And then you can say, okay, I'd rather not feel that way. Even if you can just get yourself to neutral, you don't have to be totally stoked about the situation. And in some cases, you shouldn't be, right? But if you can get yourself to neutral and say, what would I rather think about this situation that I would feel more neutral about or better about in some way? Then you can say, okay, now that I'm feeling neutral, I can take action that isn't a reaction, it's an aligned action. I can take an action that I choose because I have intercepted this process. And that action is going to be whatever gets you to the result you'd like to have in the circumstance, right? So when you're in a circumstance and you feel the feeling, you're going to say, okay, that feeling's associated with the thought. What is the thought? What would I rather think if I'd rather think something? And what's going to help me create the result of this situation that I want rather than blowing things up potentially and feeling however you might feel afterwards. So responding versus reacting is really helpful here. Yeah. And also I noticed, Kathy, was it you? You're getting some new kitties? That's adorable. Congratulations. Ready to get some new cats this week. My mom just got 2 new cats. She was sending me videos of them this morning. They're really cute. I'm not as much of a cat person. Obviously, I'm a dog person, but I respect animals that are good companions to anybody. So I just love the animal human relationships. I think that they make us better people. And I like that animals get, the love out of those as well. Okay. Now that I've gotten all of that off my chest, we had the question about travel this week. A lot of people are going to be traveling this week, whether it's by plane, train, or automobile. And it is still Mercury retrograde. Mercury is, however, in Scorpio, which is a little bit better than Mercury in Sagittarius in some ways. So we're still working on being very open if there is disruption. Before it was, like go with the flow, be chill about it, detach from outcomes. And that was like, take the Sagittarian approach of like, whatever it is, this is my adventure, man. I'm really excited about it. In this case, we might see Mercury being more fixated on the details and saying it has to go this way, or I need to be here by a certain time. I know personally, one of my things that I get stuck on when I'm feeling very fixated in my travel is like, you can't delay me here because I have to be here by a certain time. So if you delay me here, I'm frustrated immediately. And now I'm anxious for that entire flight because I can't do anything until I get to the next airport. And then it goes on and on and on, right? But this is where I intercepted my own thoughts. And I like to go to the airport. And when I get to the airport, I remind myself that everything at the airport is designed to support me. No, I don't think airports are the most efficient and best systems out there at all, ever. But this is what I'd rather believe, right? So I know that when I get to the airport, I don't have to think anymore. I just have to get to my place, have a coffee, wait until they tell me I can go to my seat in the airplane, sit in the airplane, wait for it to land, go to my next gate, right? I can chill about those things. Now, one way or another, I know I am going to get to my destination. Whether it's at the time that I originally scheduled for is not in my control. And I hate that, to be perfectly honest with you. I hate that a lot. But also, no one's going to get mad at me. And I didn't do anything wrong if I arrive late. Right. So that might be helpful to remember that Scorpio energy is a fixed water energy, right? So there are feelings here, and the fixedness kind of wants that sense of control and is very hesitant to give its trust away, to trust anything. And so, as we're thinking about Mercury in this case, we might find that certain details, I'm thinking more in this week, it's not going to be about the scheduling fiascos we had previously. It's going to be more about like maintenance issues, gate changes, all these stupid details that should have been taken care of, but something unexpected happens and that has to change the whole routine. And so, those kinds of things are what I would be aware of. Now, the magic comes in the mindset. You can use magical talismans, spells, like all those things. I've done this. Um, I took what was on my last trip because I knew I had like 1 hour to get through an airport, international everything. So I was flying to Korea and I had an hour in Korea before I had to be like my next flight left. So that was really half an hour, really. And so I'm like, this is a 15-hour flight that I don't want to be panicking through. And when I get to Korea, I've decided somehow or another, whether I bend time, which is something I tend to do, or some circumstances just align in my favor, I'm going to make it. And I've done this a couple times. So I can tell you that it can work. I did it coming back from Egypt the one day where my flight got delayed like 10 hours and it was going to delay me a whole other day because of how everything was. Not my fault, but my problem, right? So I got on this one flight where I had a half-hour layover when I got to London before my other flight was going to board. And I somehow, someone overheard me talking about it, gave me their seat closer to the front of the plane on an aisle. So I was able to beeline off that plane. Then I got rerouted through out of customs because someone tried to like direct me and I trusted them. And so I ended up having to go out of the airport entirely, run up steps in the rain, run back in, go through security again. But fortunately, I had my sunflower lanyard on. And in the UK, they really take that seriously, which I so appreciate. Someone noticed that. And even though my bag got flagged, they walked me into this process and they're like, okay, we're going to check this. What do you need? And I was like, I just need to get to my gate. I don't even know where it is. And they said, okay, you're right downstairs. You're not going to miss it. We're going to make sure this and this and this and this. And somehow I was able to get there right at boarding, walked straight on the plane, and had my own row in an upgraded economy seat, like economy plus or whatever, for that last flight. I ended up getting home hours earlier than my original itinerary. Now, all of it went wrong, but in the end, it worked out better. Right. So it's not, this one's totally not about the journey. It's about the destination in that case. Right. So, whereas last week with Mercury and Sagittarius, it wasn't about the destination. It was about the journey. This week, it's let the journey be whatever the heck it's going to be. Focus on what the destination is going to be. And maybe that will help you. Another travel spell I used again for Korea, I had this, I wrote down the time that I needed, like I actually wrote down the itinerary for my flights. And I wanted everything to be on time. So I was like, this is the time that I'm landing. This is the time that I'm boarding. This is the time I arrive in my final destination. And I wrapped it around, I think it was an aventurine stone. And I had that as a talisman in my bag. I also lit a candle for it and, did some recitations and things before I left, an invocation to Mercury, setting an affirmation for whatever. And that affirmation, of course, is a spell, but it also became my mantra when I got anxious. So I would repeat that to myself and be like, I arrive exactly where I'm meant to be, exactly when I'm meant to be, that kind of stuff. It was awesome. I don't know how we got through that whole airport that fast, but there was no line in security in an international terminal, and our gates weren't right next to each other, but the path was wide open. And even I was wearing a sling because it was right after my car accident, if you remember. So I was wearing a sling, carrying a duffel bag. I had a friend with me, and we were walking at my regular pace and got there with minutes to spare before even having to board. So yeah, don't tell me you wanted a travel montage. That is how it goes. But yeah, I do credit again. One of the things I want to focus on, and I might do a video on it this week, is how magic really does work with us and how we work with it. And like, when is the right time to do a spell? Is it when you've decided, or when you like align it? And how sometimes it can be both. Maybe because it looks like I'm going to have some extra time, I can do it on here and explain it to you guys. It's not much of a rant, but it is sort of a food for thought kind of situation. So to summarize, spells for travel this week: focus on the destination. I arrive exactly when I'm meant to be somewhere. exactly how I'm meant to get there. That's a really good, useful spell. Use your crystals that are associated with Mercury if you want to. Mercury is retrograde right now, so is Jupiter. So those two are our usual go-tos as the rulers of, Gemini and Sagittarius. But giving Mercury a boost and saying, "Hey, I know you're feeling a little crazy right now, but here's me saying, let's be crazy, but also still get where we need to go." um, yeah. What else have I used for? Mostly it's been like command stuff. Like I remember when I was on the phone with the airline in Egypt trying to get back home that time that I got delayed there, I stared at the ceiling and I was like, whatever's going on up there, whatever you're making me go through right now, I expect better than what I originally had. I have a tendency to get mad at whatever divinities are at work. But I got home, like I said, hours before. So my point there is, it's not that I was delayed and everything was screwed up to frustrate me. It was because there was a better way for me to get home sooner. And this was the way it worked. That's the way to do it. So yeah, Shauna, my other phrase is make it inevitable that I get there on time, or make it inevitable that whatever I need happens. But in this case, it was, I'm going to trust that whatever you're doing right now, even though it looks screwy to me, it's going to be better than what I originally had. And and it always ends up that way. That doesn't mean I don't panic. I still panic. I'm totally human in that respect. But I also, in the back of my mind, remind myself, this is me getting to the place in a better way than I originally was going to be. Um, and it's fantastic. I've never actually had a problem. See, so so those are some magical ways to think about that. Um, and again, depending on when you're traveling this week, it's not a terrible week for Mercury. Mercury is still slow and retrograde and getting ready to move forward. But the other aspects this week are trines. If you're traveling on Friday, that's the most chaotic maybe because Mercury is stationing. But that's I think that's actually Saturday. Yeah, Saturday. So I don't imagine people are traveling on Saturday though. All right. Yeah. So that's that. Am I caught up on questions? And if I am, I will tell you my theory on magical timing. Okay. Whew. I am all caught up. Great. All right. So, oh, Kathy, you're a cat and dog person. Yes, traveling is easier with cats. I can see that. I can see that. Um, hmm. I wish I could disagree on that, but I can't. Cats are at least quieter. My goodness. Yeah. So when it comes to magical timing, there's always this question of what came first, right? It's almost like a chicken and the egg situation where it's, did the magic work because I felt like it was the right time and I listened and I went for it? Or did I find the right time and it worked because I've timed it personally? This is like comparing folk magic with astrological magic. Astrological magic looks for the perfect timing and says, right here, that's my window, I'm going. Folk magic can sometimes be, I really feel like I should do a money spell tonight. And then the next day, you come into a boon of some sort. This has happened for me multiple times in both scenarios. And it happened to me recently where I was walking through my kitchen and all of a sudden it was just like, boom, I should do like a money spell with a bay leaf tonight. Why not? And then I did it. And then the next day, something big happened. Now, the question becomes, was that thing always going to happen? Or was the magic part of that? And I think this is where we get into sort of an invitation and accepting kind of energy. I think that sometimes when you're someone who likes to work with the magic and when you get yourself associated with the magic and you say, okay, you and I, we're working together. I am a creator in this space, a co-creator in this world, and magic is the energy of creation. And now we're buds, right? We are best friends. And so sometimes magic will be like, hey, now's the right time to do the thing. If you want to take advantage of it, raise your hand. And raising your hand is, of course, doing the spell. And then sometimes you're like, I want to do this thing. When's the right time? And you find that new moon or full moon or astrological alignment. I think it's a both and. And so for me, when it comes to like, you should do a spell for business. And then the next day you get an invitation from someone to do something with business that's huge. I think it's the universe saying, are you ready for this? And then you, by doing the spell, are saying, I'm ready for this. Here's the space for it. I'm calling it in. I'm allowing it in my life. I'm ready. I am the person who is ready for this thing. And, and so that is the relationship that I see developing more and more with magic when people use it. And I really think that that's a more fun way to think about it, right? It's not like, ooh, this sparkles in the air that I'm like moving this way or moving that way. It's a relationship with whatever is the movement behind creation saying, hey, you and I are pretty close and there's this opportunity coming up. Are you ready? And you being like, yep, let me do this. And so you're making space, manifesting, right? The spell is you making space in your life for this thing. And that is how you can think about the relationship between you and magic. Yes, it is still working if you got the idea and did the spell and the next day it worked. Yes, it is still working if you said, hey, I'm looking for this. And the sky is like, yeah, here's the time for it. Great. You'll also probably find, if you are someone that does astrological magic, that the sky was more or less appropriate, whether it was in transit at the moment or something with your own personal timing, as can be a more hidden layer of nuance that we can get into with that. But I really truly believe that the timing of magic is all about the invitation, the time being right for something to manifest, right? Like, we're not going to celebrate our winter holidays in the summer because, it's hot in the summer already. So why would we do warming things at that time? It would actually feel too much. So we wait for the cold to do our warming traditions. We wait for the warmth to do our cooling traditions. And that's how that is. If we did it at a different time of year, yeah, you could do it, but it may not actually feel as good. So this is where I think magic and we come into this communication, this partnership of, here's the time for it. Let me set you up. And then it's up to you to spike. And that's probably the only time you'll hear me make a sports analogy, because my realm is much more in the literature, magic, fantasy, and metaphysical. So let me know what you think about that, and we can talk even more about it. Cool. Welcome, Russ. Really great to see you. Welcome, Susan. Bling, bling. I know the phone is on it today. I think, again, it was the day for me to change my routine, and I'm getting little mini rewards for that this morning. I also had to do something with, you're going to see my social media change. I had to do something different with my social media. And so next week, everything will look a little bit different. I'm hoping it's still nice. I don't know where I am with my social media right now. I don't know if it's the most helpful. I don't know, if the energy's right with it. I'm waiting on that one still. I'm still waiting for the invitation there. But I'm still going to throw some spaghetti at the wall and see how it goes until we land on something good. If you have ideas, by the way, for that kind of stuff, something that you're like, wow, I wish someone on the internet were doing this because I would like to share this with my friends, or this would be helpful for me, let me know, because I'm not married to anything I'm doing on social media right now, except for maybe the skits. Lots of people like the skits. I have fun with them. That feels like alignment to me. But everything else, I'm really here for you. My whole social media effort is just whatever you guys want. And so I'm here for that. So just, yeah, let me know. The thing I'm having the most fun with right now, of course, are the Wednesdays, the gaming stuff. That's very much in alignment with my energy. And so I'll keep that going for sure. I love these lives where I get to talk to you, but the stuff that I end up posting on social media, I'm very much open to whatever you think is helpful. My job isn't to like wax philosophic at the air. It's to make sure you feel like you are empowered for the coming week, like you understand what's going on, like you feel like you can pierce through the fog of social media, astrology and magic and that kind of stuff. And that I'm someone who is a good resource for that. So highly open to it. This is your favorite so far. Yay. Thank you, Shauna. Yeah. Shauna, just as a matter of curiosity, do you mean the Mood Boost lives? Kathy, I don't play video games, but I love your new video game lives. Oh, yay! Yeah, thank you. I'm so glad that I'm not the only one that loves it. I was really hoping that they would be entertaining, mostly because I'm having so much fun. And again, fun in magic and in life is alignment. So I was hoping I wasn't the only one feeling that way. I saw an article about human biophoton luminescence. So cool. We glow with energy. We do. It's called an aura. But yeah, it's really cool how much more mystical the world really is than we might have expected before. And I'm really glad we're coming into a time, thank you, Saturn and Neptune, I guess, where we're really just sort of letting that be real and just letting it be like, we don't have to understand it in detail, but we get that it's there and we're fine with it. Um, this is the breadcrumb I need to face my Monday morning. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Shauna. I'm so glad that you shared that with me because I enjoy it too. Literally, it's just like this is one of my breadcrumbs in the week as well. Science finally caught up. Honestly, I feel like science and magic agreed for a while there, and then they had to split for reasons, and now they're coming back together, and I really appreciate it. I don't know that they ever were like too separate. I think that there was just agendas on either side of the like who gets to be respected sphere or spectrum. Um, and now we're in a space again, this Saturn Neptune conjunction that we're kind of hanging out in for the next few months is really bringing the mystical and the structured together. We're seeing that happen, and that's definitely aligned with those archetypes. And I love it, to be honest with you. Like when I sat down, I'm working on hiring a new CPA because like that's not my realm. And everybody is lately is like, well, what do you do? And I have to sit there and I have to be like, oh gosh, do I tell them I'm a lifestyle consultant or do I just like be totally honest and say, hey, I'm an astrologer. I do astrology for people and I help them feel better about their lives and I empower them to take, whatever action feels best for them, blah, 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 blah. And my CPA was like, oh, I'm a Pisces. And I was like, oh, thank God, we're going to do really well together. Also, how are you? Because that conjunction's been wild in your sun sign. And then we got into the, okay, but what's your rising and moon? So eventually I'm probably going to do the chart for my CPA. But I love that, right? More and more people. I was at the bank last week or the week before, and they were like, what do you do? And I told them, and they were like, oh, can you guess my sign? And I was like, probably not your sun sign, but your rising sign, maybe, because we just met and I don't know you. That is not my realm. Yeah. Accountants are special number magicians. They are. They do a certain kind of magic, arithmetic, that I can't do. So I really appreciate and value their skill set. And I need them. I've had a time finding really good, trustworthy people lately that I can lean on and kind of like detach myself from controlling things with. I think I'm finally getting there slowly but surely. So yay. This is not how I thought my 12th house year would go. I thought I was going to like eat, pray, love kind of situation, mostly eat and pray. I'm ace, but the way it's been has mostly been like cleaning up everything that wasn't organized so that hopefully next year I can just take off and start working on the next 12 years of self-actualization. But yeah, Misty, I totally agree. It's like one of those things where we aren't all going to do everything. So I really appreciate the people who do the things I don't do because they can and they're good at it and they love it. And that's fantastic. And I can, support their strengths instead of having to tap into my weaknesses, to be perfectly honest with you. So much cleaning. Yeah. Yeah. Yep, it's a thing. It is a thing. If you are in a 12th house perfection year, or if you happen to notice by the technique of secondary progressions that your moon is in what they call the balsamic phase, somewhere halfway between being a third quarter phase, last quarter phase, and being new, you hit that balsamic point. If it's in that space in your secondary progressions, which you can find on AstroSeek as well, usually those two things have a very similar, like we're doing healing, we're doing a lot of internal work. One only lasts 1 year, the other one lasts about 3 years. So give yourself grace. Cool. Oh, Kristen, what's your question? I'm so excited. Glad we're starting to see them intermingle more. Me too, Russ. Kristen, you mentioned with travel and such, the affirmations. Do you have any tips on how to remember what ones you're working on? Do you mean what affirmations you're working on, Kristen? Because in that case, I would just write them down and then it becomes a paper talisman, which is even cooler in a lot of situations. Um, Misty says we ordered 2 large cans from the trash service. Out with the useless. Yes. Yeah, I need to take some stuff to wherever the best place to deposit it is because I've got like some stuff that needs to get out of my garage. Let's put it that way. Kristen says, like, I'm practicing remembering clearing my energy, but I just forget. Okay, so here's what I would do for that. For stuff that you just forget, attach it to something else. So if you're working on clearing your energy, two two kind of weird ways to remember to do that. Every time you clean something, whether it's brushing your teeth, in the shower, whether you're going to the bathroom, anything like that, or you're cleaning your house, also know and just assume you're also cleaning your energy. Another way you can do that is whenever you walk through a doorway, you can actually program your doorways to sort of, you remember beaded door or beaded curtains as kids, where you would walk through it and it'd be like, shh. Just imagine that walking through a doorway is going through like a waterfall that cleanses your energy. So if you want to, you have the option to program your doorways that every time I walk through here, my magic is cleansed. Then you can forget and it's no problem. Or you can, at the end of every night, as you're falling asleep, do some breath work. And the breathing in is good energy, and the breathing out is releasing any negative energy. Just attach it to an action that you're already doing. And then you won't forget because it's built into your routine. The other thing is, your energy may be okay. If you're feeling like it's not, and you can start recognizing that feeling of frustration, not yourself kind of energy, then just quickly do a cleanse, whatever your cleansing is, whether you speak an affirmation to cleanse your energy, you do a visualization to cleanse your energy, you can just do it as needed in those situations. Yes, it's cool to do it every day and to have a routine of it. Absolutely. And you can do it when it's needed. You're not doing it wrong either way. So I hope that that's helpful, Kristen. Let me know if I can add anything to that, or if there's something specific we can get into with that. You can set alarms on your phone. Yeah. AJ says that helped them. Misty says I clear every morning in the shower and whenever I feel the need. Yep. I do it. One of the ways I first learned when I was a kid was in the shower as the water is washing over me. I'm imagining it cleansing my energy as well as everything else. Sometimes when I have really busy days and I like run to the bathroom in between whatever I'm doing, I will take a minute and just sort of like, I will hug my knees, put my head down, let my neck have a break, and just do some breathing. Just remembering to slow everything down because I tend to move throughout the day like lightning. And sometimes I need to calm down and slow down. It was actually something that was brought up in my neurodivergent assessment of making sure I do that. So, and then my phone goes off. Wonderful. Yeah. Yeah. Doorways are an energetic car wash. They are. Yeah. Fantastic. AJ uses a raw egg, roll it gently, and imagine the bad stuff going into the egg and throw it away. That's totally something you can do. You can also do that, crack the egg, and you can use divination based on the yolk, like if it floats in the water, such and such, and kind of use that to say, like, how is my energy right now, baseline? Then cleanse and do it again if you want to waste another egg. And then see if there's a difference. Now, also know that science says certain things, certain conditions will make an egg drop to the bottom of the glass of water or float. Are they separate? Like if you get one that happens to sink to the bottom of the water, was that your energy or was the egg already going to do that? Probably both and, right? It doesn't hurt to just cleanse your energy anyway. You probably got the egg that was going to do that because it was the one in alignment with what you were asking, right? So there is the way where, again, both of them can exist. Yeah. Cool. Eggs are too expensive for that now. Yeah. It's a thing. I only do it when I feel like normal cleanse isn't enough. That's fair. That's one of the ways that in a lot of folk magic traditions, I learned it in Italian folk magic, but it's in a lot of different ones where you test to see if you have a curse or not. Now, if your energy is not doing well, it doesn't mean you're cursed. But at the same time, also means you still want to cleanse it. So it's great. Um, Nothing wrong with that either. I'm going to take a quick drink. Awesome. Yeah, great question, Kristen. Thank you so much for asking. I say it all the time, but I really do appreciate that you listen in even while you're doing other things. Um, that's really kind of you. Cool. How's everybody else doing? How's Mercury retrograde been for you? What are you going to do in this last week to sort of get ready for Mercury direct? What are your plans for the holiday weekend that we've got coming? Do you celebrate? Do you have any traditions that you're looking forward to? Let me know. We can talk about that too. It's one of the highlights of your Monday at work. Oh, Kristen, thank you. I always appreciate seeing you here. So you are noticed and appreciated. Um, cool. Awesome. Ooh, Jack. Jack heard me push a button on my phone and he thinks that means it's lunchtime. Buddy, it's not even close. I'm sorry. I love you though. I love you very much. You're adorable. Oh, you're putting up a new mantle. Hearth magic. um, I wish the chat would work on your work computer too. That's a bummer. You can always pull it up on your phone and chat from there. It's always, one of the options. It's not my favorite. Jack is still on daylight savings time. Gabe, Jack is on every time is food time. And I get it. I get it. I relate. I like it too. But the fact that he's persistent about it is something. Drive, watch my mouth around the fam, eat some tasty victuals, drive, rest, decorate Christmas tree. Misty, it sounds like a busy time. I'm excited because on Thursday, after we do family stuff, Dan and I come home and we do decorate our house for the winter holidays. And I'm very excited about that too. You're making your grandma's cranberry jello salad. And this year in her Tupperware that you got from grandpa. Oh my goodness. That's so cool. Yeah. Weirdly enough, the recipe I make, I have my grandmother's recipe book. But I often make, I had an aunt who eventually was divorced and not part of the family anymore. But she, before she went on her own way, gave me this cookie recipe that I make every year. And dang if I don't love those cookies. So I'm really excited for this year to make them again. No phones allowed back at your desks. My gosh. Okay, well, thank you. Again, I'm sorry about that. Jeepers. That's I can see how there's the frustration there. Yeah. Cranberry jello salad sounds amazing. My mother-in-law this year is doing Thanksgiving pot pies, which is going to be interesting and fun. And then I bring the green bean casserole every year. So mostly because whatever's left over, that's my dinner. So I'm really excited about that. I don't know why. I've always loved green beans as a kid. And then green bean casserole is like a whole other level, right? So, yep. I am known for my pumpkin chocolate chip oatmeal cream cheese icing cookies. And I'm known for my green bean casserole. Those are my things. I love them. Has anybody here changed up their routines lately? Like I did mine this morning. I'm feeling so good. When I took some blood tests this year, the only thing that was low was vitamin D. And I was like, well, that's from the sun. And so this morning, I literally, when the sun rose, I went outside and I took a walk and I'm feeling actually good. So I can attest vitamin D from the sun. It works. Those cookies sound dangerous. They are dangerous. And that is why I make them in like little batches and I make sure I give them away as much as I can. So I have enough where I get to enjoy myself 100%. But they also go to my husband's work. They go to my family. They go to, my in-laws. Everybody gets some so that I don't eat all of them because one batch does make a lot. It's good stuff. I'm never mad. Let me put it that way. And fun story about my now husband. When I was in college, I made it for my friends. I was really excited. I had like friends in college. So I made them my cookies the one year. I took them and I gave them to my best friend at the time. I gave them to Dan and I gave them to Dan's girlfriend at the time. And I had some for myself, obviously. My best friend loved them. Dan loved them. His girlfriend hated them and he ate hers. And I was like, okay, don't like her. You're great, though. That's fantastic. Several years later, I would marry that man. So they are good. They are good. And they're like adaptable too, right? Like you can do your oatmeal raisin, you can do your oatmeal chocolate chip, you can do with cream cheese icing, without cream cheese icing. They can do all sorts of stuff. They're so versatile. Um, thank you, Kristen. Have a good week. Yeah. Anyone have any tips on how to keep homemade cookies soft for longer than a day? Um, oh, that's interesting. So mine are pumpkin oatmeal cookies, right? And they stay soft the whole time. I wonder your ratio of wet to dry ingredients in your cookies. My guess is the more wet ingredients you have, the more likely they are to stay soft. I know my dad with his chocolate chip cookies, he used peanut butter, and that kept them nice and chewy and soft for a long time. For as long as we had them, which honestly is not long because they're delicious, but for more than a day. Um, yeah. So Ren, I wonder if you have any sort of softer ingredients in there that can make sure that there's kind of that ratio of wet to dry ingredients. That's about as much as deep as my knowledge goes on that. So if anybody in the chat has more to add there, I'm open to that as well. Um, yeah, I know like mine come out almost too wet initially because of all the pumpkin. It's pumpkin puree. And so then when I bake them, I have to put them in the fridge for a little bit. Then they firm up a lot more. But they come out kind of like almost like muffin tops. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Freezing them, but that means taking them out and letting them defrost before eating, but they stay soft. So there you go. Freezing them. Thank you, Carl. That's a great idea too. To think about that for this year. Yeah. I need to get my dad's recipe this year. He's gotten to a point where he's not really making them anymore and they cannot go away. So I will take up that mantle. And I'll probably do something magical with them because my dad and I have a really great relationship. And I would love to incorporate that into sort of some magic that I do every year. Magic chocolate chip cookies. Yeah, we can do that. Pumpkin has a high amount of water activity. Yes, it does, keeping things soft. Molasses too. Yeah, my mom loves molasses cookies and molasses pie. So yeah, things that are soft by nature. Think about it, right? Correspondence work again. If it's soft by nature, it'll be softer. It'll contribute to the softness of the final product. Um, yeah, I'm no chemist or gastronomist, but that's as far as I go. Gonna try that for ginger cookies. They always go stale so fast. Yeah, ginger cookies do seem like they're of the drier variety of ingredients. Um, hmm. Yeah, I wonder what you would be able to do. I'm gonna actually search this up. How to keep ginger cookies soft. It's one of the first things that comes up. So you are clearly not the only one who has this. Avoid over baking. Store them in an airtight container with a slice of fresh bread. There's a grandma's recipe kind of thing for you in a container with fresh bread. Molasses is a great ingredient to use in ginger cookies, according to this. So we got that. And don't overmix them. Also, we do see someone recommending to chill the dough to prevent them from spreading too thin. Yeah. Wow. Really cool, right? The slice of bread is really funny to me. I like that. Brown sugar. Yep. Brown sugar is one of the recommendations here on the search too. Brown sugar retains more moisture than white sugar, so it can give you chewier texture. Yeah. You're not putting the bread in the cookies. You're just putting it into the container alongside the cookies. I'm guessing that it kind of acts as like a filter kind of thing. Yeah. Yeah. I like to use brown sugar for stuff more too. Um, yeah. Ginger smoosh instead of a ginger snap. All right. Shauna says that storing hard cookies in a Ziploc bag helps keep them softer. Yeah. Like lemon with avocado. Yep. Yeah. An avocado. Uh, oh, yes. Yep. Yes, Ren. Yeah. So we got a couple cool ideas here. Um, Yeah, that's really, really cool. So we all got to learn something today. I love that. Thank you for that question. I'm definitely one of the chewy cookie people too. And a lot of these here that I'm seeing are saying ginger molasses, brown sugar, that kind of stuff gives you the chewier cookies. Yep. I think molasses may be one of the secrets there. We are caught up with 10 minutes left, and Jack Jack is sat next to the door. I don't know why. What's wrong, buddy? You look great, though. You're adorable. Yeah. Zelda is also staring at me over the desk. These dogs run my house, and I love every second of it. uh, Jack, Jack. Yep. He is watching all the birds. And so, not this past weekend, because we need to give them a break. The weekend before, though, so about a week and a half ago, we took them on our Saturday walk. Dan and I will walk to our closest Starbucks on Saturday mornings, which is about a half hour walk away. We get a coffee and we come back, and we love the people that work at the Starbucks there. And for the record, this Starbucks was not participating in the strike, so we were not crossing the picket line. We checked with them before we did anything. But we took the pups with us and got them pup cups. And so they walked all the way there and they were doing pretty fine. And we had our Jack Packs with us because we knew at some point they were going to need them, right? So we take them there. We gave them water. We gave them pup cups, got their energy back up. Jack made it maybe a quarter of the way home before he didn't want to be done, but he was done. The poor boy is 10 years old. He's fantastic. He looks super healthy. He is super healthy. He's doing great. But he needed a break. So we gave him some uppies and we put him in the Jack Pack and Zelda at the same time. Zelda loved it because she was the queen in her palanquin. I was the palanquin. And we made our way back home. Jack in this Jack Pack was like, he looked satisfied, but totally spent, totally exhausted. Dan said he looked like he was ready to meet Jesus. And Dan's a Taoist, right? So it was really hilarious. And then this week I was like, are we going to take the pups with us again? And Dan was like, Jack needs a bye week. Let's not do that to him again so quickly. But again, that's why we take water with us. That's why we take the backpacks. By the end of the walk, he was getting restless in the backpack and wanted to walk the rest of the way again. And he was ready to play with the ball as soon as we got home because ball is life. But he was adorable that day. And he's doing really well. To our knowledge, he wasn't sore or anything. They are amazing puppers, Russ. They really, really are. These dogs bring me so much joy. The funny thing is, Dan and I have 2 separate rooms. We each have our space in the house, which is great. But I maintain the king size mattress from before we did this. And so the pups really like this mattress. Zelda takes up half of it, and Jack and I take up the other half together. I'm not joking. And so that is our every night. And I don't know what I would do without it. I do not know what I would do. Every morning, my alarm goes off. I sit up. I immediately can pet a dog. If I wake up in the middle of the night, have an anxiety spike or anything like that, I roll over. I can pet a dog. It's fantastic. These dogs are the greatest thing ever. They are so good. Yeah. And we have a pretty chill week for the first time in a while. So that's going to be fun too. So as we're coming down to the end of this broadcast, let me tell you the stuff that's coming up this week. If you are on my Patreon, you already have early access to the bookend episode that we recorded last week for the Alchemist Inkwell podcast. So that is there for you. Highly recommend listening. Higa questions got really, really funny. And then today we'll record next week's. That's all good. Wednesday, we will still be able to do our gaming and magic. I'm still looking for like a really neat, fun title for that. If anybody has ideas, feel free to shoot them my way. I'll definitely think about it. But we'll be playing some Breath of the Wild. We're going to talk fairy stuff this time. I'm going to make sure we actually do get to have Wolf Link with us. So we'll be able to talk fae, and we'll have a little companion. We'll have a dog in game with us, and we'll be progressing some of the story and getting really into the meat of the storyline with this. Maybe also getting another horse. We'll see, because Blot is great, but Blot does not like me, and Blot be slow. So we'll see how that goes. And then it's Thursday. So enjoy whatever traditions you do. Friday, we will not be doing the Alchemist Ink spill because we're allowing everybody to have that extended weekend with their family, including us. So everything will come back around next week on Monday for another Monday Magic Mood Boost, along with kicking off December, you guys. It's amazing. I'm trying to get together some of like the year ahead in astrology, and I'm trying not to be too much in my head about it because I get very particular, and sometimes I get so particular that it's like actually not very helpful. So I'm throwing my particularity into the sun right now, and then I'll walk my way back, and hopefully a couple weeks in, I will be able to give you guys sort of like what to expect in 2026. And as AJ is making known here, Pop Stars is available. Pop Stars is how you can see astrology on social media and know what the heck it means for you. And it gives you enough foundational information that you know what to do with your chart in a very basic way. So if you just want to know enough about your chart to be able to look at social media and know if it matters to you, this will do that for you for sure. And then it also gives you the next steps and some easy access stuff to that. Em also did come out with her new deity workshop, which has already been getting some rave reviews, which is fantastic. So yeah, we've got all that stuff going on, and we're going to be sharing a really cool thing with you. Speaking of 2026, check out, it should be not next week's episode, but the week after, we're going to be sharing with you a really cool product that we recommend. I've used it myself before, and it comes from someone that I know who studies astrology as much as I do. And so highly recommend their product. I'll be sharing more about it when we get all the details from them to make sure we're sharing exactly what they want us to share. I'm so excited that we get to partner up with these people because I love their product, and I know they have good astrology because I've studied next to them at workshops with Demetra George and things. So this is fantastic. And I think it's an answer to what a lot of people are looking for, to really align their year with astrology. And, I can also make it a little bit more magical. And we'll talk about that when we do get into the episodes where we get to talk about it. We'll even be interviewing the creators of it at some point soon. Remember that there are trips to join. Yeah, AJ, thank you for reminding me. If you are looking for an escape from this place, there are 3 opportunities to do that in 2026 where you can come with Emily and me, and we're going to go do magical things in magical places. And the first of those being Peru in March, which is going to be really great to actually celebrate the turning of the seasons in the Southern Hemisphere, which is going to be fun. So it'll technically be our spring equinox, but it's going to be fall. So we're going to skip the spring equinox, and it'll be really cool to see that. And then in the summer, we get to go back to Greece with Malcolm. And this time we're going to Delphi, which is going to be really, really cool too. And I am so excited. I can't even tell you how excited I am about Germany. And I should let you guys know, next Tuesday and Wednesday, Trova gave us a discount code. So next Tuesday and Wednesday, in the link tree that I have in my bio everywhere, there will be a Trova Trip discount code that you will be able to apply to any trip you want, and it'll give you $50 off. So that is something that will be there as well. If you're looking at any of these trips, and that would be the boon that would help you do that, this code will be there for you next Tuesday and Wednesday. So keep your eye out for that. And I'll hopefully remember to tell you about it next week and hopefully remember to activate it in my Linktree on Tuesday next week, Travel Tuesday, right? So it'll be there. It's already there. I just have to turn it on. It doesn't work yet anyway. So if I turned it on now and you tried it, it wouldn't work. But it will. It will. And I need to set a reminder for myself. And tell your family what you want for the holidays. Yeah. Yeah. So thank you guys for a wonderful morning. I appreciate you all very much. I hope to see you guys on Wednesday over on Twitch where we can do some magic gaming and talk about some face stuff at the same time. Have a wonderful holiday week, everybody. I hope you get the rest and the fantastic food and whatever tradition fulfillment you look forward to this year. Yes. Thank you all so much. I look forward to next week. Um, all right. Have a great day, you guys. Happy Monday.